Hello, Pisces, and welcome to your February 2026 tarot card reading. So, we're going to go ahead and get started here. So, what is it that Pisces needs to know for February here? Ooh, a lot of sword energy to start. Lots of swords energy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's very rare to have so many of one suit come out. Um, So let's just kind of dive in with the Ace of Swords, because to me it feels like a sense of clarity, or like you are in the process of gaining clarity. Perhaps maybe in the beginning of the month you have some kind of light bulb moment, um, an illumination, an aha, or some kind of a truth that comes through. But I do think that perspective shift is really, really important. But I will caution you, because given what's happening down here, I don't know that this is the end all be all. So it might be a deeper truth, it might be a higher perspective, but I don't know that it's all the information yet. I don't want to see Pisces making a big decision right out of the gate in February. Okay, we have a few things happening in the beginning. Okay, we've got that full moon in Leo, we have Uranus stationing direct. We also have Mercury moving into Pisces too. Now, we have a lot of Aquarius energy, which clearly, with all the air stuff that's coming through here. So we do have a lot of Aquarius, but um, that Mercury in Pisces is a little funny, especially because as he continues through Pisces, he is going to be working through his pre-shadow phase and then retrograding on the 26th at the very end of the month. So to me, that says that this is an ongoing story and that this is not final. The King of Swords, I think, is slower to act. And even though the Six of Swords is a movement card, it's still not the fastest energy either. And I just don't see Pisces getting this moment, this clarity, this truth, and then rushing into something. I think if you do that, if you rush, you will be hit with a lot of like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, whoops, I shouldn't have acted so soon because I didn't realize. Do you see what I'm saying? So while this might be a higher truth, it is not the highest truth. So the King of Swords is tempered, he's restrained, he's thoughtful and deeply intentional. And if you go into it realizing that, well, maybe I still don't know everything, or maybe there's still more to come, then maybe I'm not going to, with any sense of urgency, take that leap. I'm just going to, because you can still have movement based on this. I don't see that there's anything wrong with that. I just don't want to see it be like the whole enchilada, okay? Because Six of Swords is slow, methodical. It's kind of a drifting energy. Um, it's a little more on the peaceful side, but there are some planetary placements that suggest that you may not always feel that peace, that serenity, right? Because Aquarius energy is a bit faster, it is a bit more chaotic and sudden. It wants to innovate and change and tear down this one system and build up another system. And so it does have that sense of like, well, what are we waiting for? Why wouldn't we want to be free from the shackles of this aspect of life? So, let's just do it right now. But again, I just don't know that this Ace of Swords is enough information. But based on this, you can take steps. Now, I will tell you, I don't know that I feel caution or fear. Doesn't feel like that to me. It just feels aware, aware that yes, there might be more coming down the line. And I think when we hit this Two of Swords, that this might be that realization of like, okay, I'm really glad that I didn't go full on at the beginning of the month, because here I am and I'm realizing it's either this way or that way, and it's not just one way, it's actually two ways. And there's a choice and there's decisions and there's a crossroads now that you have to take. Now, there's a lot of big stuff happening between January, February, and March, right? So back in, well, January 26th, we have Neptune moving into Aries. And on the 20th of February, I'm sorry, the 13th of February, we have Saturn moving into Aries. And then just a few days after that, on the 20th, that's when Saturn officially comes into that exact conjunction with Neptune. Um, and yet, even like, so that whole month between January 26th and February 20th, Saturn is still very heavily under that Neptunian influence, even though they are transitioning into Aries. It's not like a perfect thing. As soon as they move into Aries, it's done. No, because they're still so close together. And Neptune is confusing things. He's disrupting the systems. He's making us deal with the fact that maybe we were operating under some kind of smoke and mirrors. And that's what I'm worried that this might be. So that's why that awareness is so crucial. Because when we hit this Two of Swords, I'm going to clarify this, of course, with the comprehensive cards, but I'm just not sure if this is you or if this is someone else. Because sometimes this can be a self-sabotaging card where you tend to shoot yourself in the foot, you tend to backtrack, you tend to have a lot of fear and say, oh, whoop, that's not what I meant. I'm going to go back to where it was, back to the comfort zone. But it could also be someone else who shows their true colors. And maybe that's why this is kind of saying like, hey, something more is coming down the line for you, Pisces. This isn't the full truth, but this probably is the full truth. This probably is the part that you're not seeing at the beginning. Now, if it's someone else and they're doing something kind of shady or backdoor, or they're kind of, you know, skulking in the shadows, figuratively, clearly that's going to be someone that you need to move away from, because that's not where your success is going to lie. That's not where your happiness and your contentment is going to be. So perhaps maybe this very yellow card in a sea of blue and gray is really standing out and saying, Pisces, this needs to be dealt with sooner rather than later. And the choice point is now. Let's see what else comes through for you, Pisces. I also want you to keep in mind that it is eclipse season, and we are going to have that new moon eclipse in Aquarius at 28 degrees. So there's that. So that's probably making things a bit more intense. It's probably illuminating things, but again, not fully, because the full moon eclipse is going to be on March 3rd. So it's like the real threat is thinking that we have the clarity and not actually having it. Now, I don't want to say that to make you continually second guess yourself. Obviously, that's not my intention here. It's just a matter of moving slowly enough so that if something does happen to come toward you, you can deal with it without like slamming into a brick wall. Okay. But I do still see movement. So whether it comes to day-to-day life, it comes to work, it comes to, your family life, your like everything that needs to just happen on a regular basis, all that stuff is still functional, right? Your business is still going, your job is still going, your family is still going. It's all still just going. And I think that's maybe where the focus is a little bit, or needs to be. instead of anything so big. Now, back in October, and I know I did like this big whole dramatic goodbye and all of that, but back in October, I know that I talked about November, December, January, and February as being kind of a hibernation time. And that was very specifically because of Saturn and Neptune. And we're reaching the end of that in February. By March, Saturn will be moving on and we're not going to have to deal with that anymore. But this is that end point of it all. And I do feel like there's like exposure of something. Now, the devil's not always a bad card. Um, on one hand, it can represent work ethic and discipline and structure and commitment, which is great. But on the other hand, it can also represent things like pride and ego and patterns and trauma and things that kind of rear their ugly head. And because it came out right after that Seven of Swords, I do feel like there's a twinge of that. Now, it may not be your own, it could be someone else's, because I am sensing that for many Pisces, that Seven of Swords is going to be someone else, whether they are directly affecting you or if it's just in your periphery. But either way, it's here and it's present. And I think it does kind of throw a wrench in the spokes a little bit. I don't normally hear people talk about the devil in this capacity. This is just kind of an intuitive thing that's coming up for me right now very uniquely in this reading. I'm almost kind of like hearing this devil saying stop. Like he's holding up his hand like stop. Stop, Pisces. There's something you just have to stop. And I think it's going to be hard for Pisces to do that if this is like a relationship thing. But again, if this is you, your own self sabotaging, whatever, that can also be very difficult to stop. But I feel like right now, something might happen or someone may say something. Again, it might not be huge or negative or anything like that. It just might be something that just lands just the right way to get you to say, okay, this is the end, truly. So that's really what Saturn and Neptune being conjunct really is all about. The very last degrees of Pisces, beginning of Aries. It's the end of a massive cycle. And there has to be a lot of endings. There has to be a lot of shedding during this time. And it just kind of has to be different now. And I think with Aquarius being, the sun being in Aquarius, Mars being in Aquarius, it's really important. And then we get the devil here to think about our systems and what systems we have, what systems we are implementing. Are those systems helpful? Are they helping us grow? Or are they keeping us in some kind of plateau or even decrepit state? And I think the answers here, I do feel like there's much more clarity near the end of the month. And again, that's exactly why I'm saying don't think that this is everything, because this right here, Seven of Swords Devil, is going to illuminate something even bigger on top of this. Probably something that you know in your heart has always been lurking below the surface and it's always been there. And even with the Queen of Cups, it's, for me, it feels like intuitively, it's time to really deal with this. Now, I don't think this is like a deep healing moment where you have to go and do all this inner child work and cry about things that happened to you. I don't think that's what this is. It's just a decision moment, right? Two of Swords. It's just a decision moment followed by some type of action that kind of backs up that decision. Now, the High Priestess, Queen of Cups combo, it is very deep. And I'm almost sensing that there might be not only an emotional release that happens, again, probably during eclipse time on the 17th, which is just a few days before Saturn conjunct Neptune, which is a few days before Mercury retrograde. So we have the eclipse on the 17th, the 20th is Saturn Neptune, 26th is Mercury retrograde. So that like 10-day period there, I think really corresponds to these few cards here. And Queen of Cups is that reminder of self-care, nurturing, right? It's Cancerian energy. So maybe being at home in your safe places here, not safe places so you can hide or so you can avoid, but so that you can regroup. Okay, because this feels more proactive to me because we finished with the Magician and the Ten of Coins. So I do think you are really looking for material changes in your life, right? There has to be something illuminated in the mind, and I'm wondering if there's even something regarding your own rigidity that is being highlighted to you, saying, hey Pisces, you're being very rigid in this area, you're stubborn, you're blind in this area, where you probably never really think of yourself that way because you're, Jupiter ruled, traditionally Neptunian ruled in modern astrology, and you don't always think of yourself as stubborn or stuck or anything like that. You're a mutable sign, you're a water sign, you're a fluid, flowing sign, you're adventurous, you're futuristic, you're all these beautiful things. Stubborn is not usually a word that we associate with a Pisces, but you are a human being. You have Taurus in your chart, you have Capricorn, you have Saturn in your chart, you have areas that are a little harder to move. So you are materialistically focused. And I think this Magician matches the Ace of Swords beautifully, where it's like this has an understanding of something, and then you kind of go through this and have like a bigger aha moment, but then the Magician hits, and then you start to see what that was really all about. And you start to see how this is like a breadcrumb situation. You're like being breadcrumbed into higher consciousness, and that higher consciousness is ultimately here to get you to higher material reward. And it's not even about money, although it could be, money could be a part of it. It's more just about results, right? It's about the next level and being able to truly contain it. And that clearly there was something that was preventing you from ever getting to that next level in your life. And I think you're having a big breakthrough of that this month. And you may not realize how life-changing it is in the moment, because it might just be something simple. It doesn't have to be this massively profound thing. It's probably most likely very simple, but there was a hitch where that problem was, right? And you weren't broken, you weren't anything, it just you didn't realize. So this is you coming into the realization. And when you have that gift of sight, then you can never unsee it, which means you can effectively operate in a more powerful manner now. Okay? So that's a really beautiful reading for you, but let's pull out the clarifiers and see what else comes through. So we start with that Ace of Swords. So Pisces, for the comprehensive reading, what do you need to know here? Also, if you're new here, if you want to, we're going to pull out a bunch of cards and we're going to cover them in the comprehensive reading. So if you want to join me for that, you most certainly can. My link and everything for that will be in the description box down below. So what do you need to know here? Eight of Cups, Four of Swords, Three of Wands. I do like the Eight of Cups with the Six of Swords because it does indicate movement, which I think is important, which I think is good. Ten of Swords. See, there's the pause, right? The pause, the restraint. Another Six of Swords. I'm going to pull three more since we got a repeat. King of Wands, Death, and Page of Wands. Hermit. Two of Coins, Nine of Swords, Six of Coins, Queen of Coins. Indeed, love the coins. Queen of Swords, another Two of Swords. And see, I don't think that this is really all that bad. This is what I mean. Like, I think it's something simple. Nine of Cups, Three of Swords, Wheel of Fortune. I love this card for the breadcrumb energy because I often say that about the Wheel of Fortune, that that's exactly what it is. Hierophant, Justice, Lovers. Wow, very powerful major arcana coming out there. Another Ten of Coins, Queen of Wands, and the Sun. And the last card, Three of Cups, the World, Ten of Wands. All right, Pisces, this is where we will pick up in the comprehensive reading. So if you want to join, all the info down below. Thank you so much. Have a great month, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.